Good morning. And happy Pride. Happy Father's Day. I love it when celebrations sort of converge on each other. It just gives us more space to be more joyful. And I also love it when I get up from my seat. Oh man, I'm making a mess up here already. When I get up from my seat, I see so many more of you have arrived in this space, and I'm so pleasantly surprised. Thank you for all of you so beautifully assembled here in our sanctuary at Heart and Soul Center of Light in Oakland, California. Thank you who are watching the live stream from all the places where you're situated around the country and even internationally. I'm told our numbers are growing online, which is a sure signal that we must be doing something right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Reverend Angelo Allen. I am a staff minister here at Heart and Soul Center of Light. It is always a big honor for me, no matter how many times Reverend Dr. Andriette invites me to be in her pulpit. It is a big deal for me, and so I'm grateful for the opportunity. And today, I'm sensing that it's going to be a little bit different, but that's okay because we want to tend to everything that's up, including a celebration of Father's Day. And I want to respond to a particular request that came through Dr. Andriette a couple of weeks ago. First of all, many of you know that Dr. Andriette has characterized herself, and other people have chimed in agreement, that she is a serial preacher. Now, I gotta say that this is not because she actually plans a series of talks to trot out over a number of weeks or months, but it's just that, okay, so Spirit gives her an idea for a talk. And she brings the talk, she delivers it magnificently, as you know. And then she steps down from the pulpit, but the talk is still like following her. It's still on her. It's still offering, there's another perspective that, we really need to share in this other viewpoint. And whoa, there's this additional learning that they all could, and Andriette, Reverend Dr. Andriette, makes a point of bringing it back as many times as she needs to continue unfolding those revelations. And I'm celebrating the wisdom of that. Now, about 2 weeks ago, she and I, talking about something I'm not exactly sure what it was at this point. But somewhere in there, she says, "You're speaking on the 15th." And I say, "Yep, it's on my calendar. I'm ready to go." And she says, "Well, I would really like to make a request that you lift up audacity." And it occurred to me in that moment, that's Spirit wanting to say a little bit more about this thing. For about 8 weeks, Dr. Andriette has been lifting up audacity as something that is important for us to pay attention to, as a spiritual invitation for new ways of being, of living, of expressing. And so I'm prepared to talk about audacity just a little bit, especially for the benefit of those who may be kind of new to Heart and Soul and may not have been on board when she first started talking about audacity all those weeks ago. So first, we've got to have, I think, a common understanding of what audacity is, what it means. Audacity, pretty much by anybody's definition, is boldness, right? I mean, that's just across the board. But from a spiritual perspective, audacity is boldness showing up as spiritual courage. Courage has everything to do with audacity from a spiritual perspective. It's the courage to speak when being silent is much safer. It's the courage to act when fear is rearing up, showing its fangs, and being much louder. Audacity is the courage to take a seat at the table, even though nobody has invited you to have a seat at the table. Being willing to be counted and standing up for whatever the conversation is. Audacity is the divine insistence that you matter and that you are absolutely essential. You're not an accident that just happened to kind of like stumble backwards through a curtain and then like, oh, here I am on planet Earth and doing this thing, or fall through a trap door. You are here in response to a divine yes. You are here as part of a mission that you said yes to. That mission is to help create a world that works for everybody. That's why you take the trouble to appear here on a day like today, either in person or through the live stream, however it is. You're feeling drawn to fulfill that mission and to remember what that mission is. And I've got a mission too. My mission today is to bring forth a talk that is the audacity to rise together. So that's part of what we're doing today, and I needed to say that and honor Dr. Andriette's request. And also, we cannot forget that today is Father's Day. And I want to lift up that Father's Day, Mother's Day are not just Hallmark holidays. There has always been, within the human spirit, a need to appreciate and give thanks for mothers and fathers, without whom, at the very least, we simply could not be here physically. And so today, we just want to pause and honor all of those who have served or are serving as fathers, whether by biology or calling or circumstance. We lift up every soul who has carried the sacred responsibility of fathering. We honor anyone who has carried the energy of the divine masculine. Anyone who has reflected the masculine face of God in ways that are nurturing, strong, loving, and present. We honor those who showed up, who stayed, who listened, who protected, and who prayed. And we hold space for those who wanted to do all of that and could not. We remember the fathers who passed away too soon. We acknowledge the fathers who were simply poor in spirit and couldn't show up. We name the fathers who were taken away by addiction, incarceration, systems of thought, however institutionalized, that convinced them that they had no value to anyone. We also lift up the fathers who are gay, trans, non-binary, those whose expression of fatherhood never fit any mold, and yet always showed up with the most love imaginable, unmistakable, and never in doubt. These two are fathers, and we honor them. We honor all who carry this energy, because fatherhood is not limited by biology. It's not limited by circumstance or gender or lack of education or having more money. Fatherhood is a spiritual capacity. The capacity to move in the world through presence, through love, and through service. And while we celebrate today, we also hold in compassion those offspring for whom this day really brings more ache than it does bring joy. For those who are navigating the grief of a loss of father, for those who are navigating the absence of father, the ones who are longing to be a father and that hasn't availed itself to them at this point. Even those who are doing the sacred work, the difficult work of healing their relationship with their father, or the very idea of fatherhood itself. We honor that work, and we want you to know that you are not alone. You are seen, you are valued, and you are loved. Happy Father's Day. So, at Heart and Soul, we love celebrating, and we have a lot of commemorative music that we sing to honor various celebrations and holidays. And a lot of these songs are well known, and they get covered by amazing, talented artists. And yet, when it comes to Father's Day, there is one song that speaks volumes about appreciation for the qualities of fatherhood, and it's called Song for My Father. And the opening lyrics seem to pretty much say it all. If ever there was a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. And for us here at Heart and Soul, that song kind of just can't be sung by anybody. We need to hear from the inimitable Nicholas Beard, accompanied by the incomparable, award-winning Tammy Hall on piano. Song for My Father.
Such a pleasure to see you all out here today. Happy Father's Day. You've been on my mind. If there were ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. A human being so true, he could live like a king, 'cause he knew the real treasures in life to be devoted to and always stand by me, so I'd be unafraid and free. If there were ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. If there were ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. A human being so true, he can live like a king, 'cause he knew the real treasures in life to be devoted to and always stand by me, so I'd be unafraid and free. If there were ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. That was my dad, the man. That was my dad, the man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas Beard and Tammy Hall. I sure hope you appreciate the caliber of musical talent that has graced us today. These are like multiple award-winning, including a Grammy, I might add, artists. So consider what that would cost you on the musical market. I'm reminded that in all of our opportunities for celebration this week, we also have Juneteenth on Thursday. So let us not forget to commemorate that day in Texas when enslaved people finally received the word that they were enslaved no more. So, yes, happy Juneteenth. Indeed. I want to say a bit more about my message today. Yes, it is about Father's Day, but the message is also a bit deeper in terms of the spiritual truth behind Father's Day. I want to talk about the divine masculine, but I find it impossible to talk about the divine masculine in isolation of the divine feminine, because they're really one thing. And yet there is a process for understanding the divine masculine, not the one that we kind of like shy away from, that is problematic. What I really want to talk about is, in metaphysical terms, the divine masculine and the divine feminine are simply not about gender. None of us need to feel wedded to a particular team because of our gender around these aspects of the divine. The divine masculine is really the energy of direction, clarity, logic, protection, and its hallmark is action. Bringing things into motion, bringing something that exists as an idea into fruition in a way that can be appropriated by the physical senses and otherwise. The divine masculine builds, it focuses, and it moves things forward with purpose. The divine feminine, by contrast, is the energy of creation. It's the energy of intuition, compassion, nurturing, and receptivity. The divine feminine doesn't push things into being. She flows. She moves around and through. She listens deeply. That is a chief characteristic of the divine feminine, deep listening. She holds and she inspires through a vision that only she brings. Now, it's important to also know that one is not better than the other. They're partners. And the divine feminine brings forth a vision. The masculine gives form to the divine feminine's vision. The feminine then nourishes and energizes the masculine's movement. So in balance, when they are balanced, they reflect the wholeness of the divine, structure and flow, power and grace, doing and being. There has to be a balance to these seemingly opposite ways of being. Ernest Holmes actually talks about it in The Science of Mind. And I want to just read you something that he offered. And I've tinkered with the language ever so slightly because Ernest Holmes was a product of his time, born in the late 19th century, and so he had a pretty paternalistic view of how to talk about people. So he says, man, and I'm changing that to humans coming from unity is both male and female, and has within itself both attributes of reality. In some, the male predominates. In others, the female. We have two distinct types in man and woman, but they are types of one fundamental principle, and I am lifting up the principle of love. That is what we are talking about here. And so, why have I even, kind of strayed down this path? I believe, and I'm not embarrassed to proffer an opinion, that we are living in a time of great reckoning. Things are afoot, and the moment that we're living in right now is demanding truth, accountability, responsibility, and change. We see it all around us. You know the events of this past weekend, particularly yesterday. You know everything that has led to this moment. You see global events as they're being played out in real time. We are having a precarious moment. When I say we, I mean humankind. What this reckoning is it's not only spiritual, I believe it's ancestral. The ancestors are showing up and say, told you this was coming, now's the time, we're here for it with you. It's also creative, meaning it offers the opportunity to do something, to be something that causes a shift. So as many of you have heard me talk about the ascendancy of the divine female, the divine feminine, we know that this characteristic of the divine has been active and fairly obvious for some time. And yet, it seems to be often overrun, overshadowed, ignored by something louder and noisier. Remember that spiritual courage, being able to act when something else is making all the noise and causing all the fear. So the divine feminine, in some ways that are universal and in some ways that are particular, such as in the experience of black women in this country, has decided to take a rest, has decided to reclaim its time for a variety of reasons, all of which are perfectly good, including, like, I really tried to help you understand what would happen if we went down this path. You all went down this path. There's nothing for me to talk about at this point. So I'm going to step aside and let y'all carry on. But you don't carry on without consequence. The divine feminine isn't stepping back because she is only exhausted. She's stepping back because she's carried it long enough. She has carried this world as far as she possibly can without saying, I'm putting this down now. And we are going to let this play out the way you need it to play out. But the question is, okay, so that's what the divine feminine has been up to for a very long time. Well, what has the divine masculine been doing? I think the answer may surprise you, because what springs to mind is, oh, the divine masculine has been extremely active, just ripping and tearing and stomping around. And I want to offer a different idea. I believe the divine masculine is asleep. I believe the divine masculine it's not like a deep comatose kind of sleep. It's kind of like a semi-conscious, in the midst of dreaming. Specifically, I think the divine masculine is thrashing about in a nightmare. A light nightmare of unbridled control and domination, destruction and neglect. It is way out of balance, overcompensating for its role, which is to direct, to protect, to guide, to bring into form. It's having a bad dream about a Frankenstein patriarchy that has escaped the lab and is now terrorizing the townspeople. It's having a night terror about King Kong leadership bursting through all the restraints of law and stomping norms and traditions. It's a creature of the id, this nightmare, that's causing the divine masculine to turn on itself in an attempt to devour itself. I believe that the divine masculine as spiritual principle is in some way struggling and suffering because of this imbalance, because of this sleeping. And so what is the divine feminine doing as the divine masculine sleeps? Well, she's doing what she is called to do, what she has always done, while her beloved suffers in the pandemonium of this dream. She supports with a sacred conversation that is whispered. She is gently saying to the divine masculine, wake up. Wake up. She is very careful not to rudely awaken the divine masculine. We all have seen those TikTok videos where, somebody is asleep and the spouse puts like a dummy with a terrible looking mask in the bed with them and then stirs them awake, and the person just about goes crazy and has a heart attack falling out of the bed. It's not that. She's not doing that. She's not trying to shake the divine masculine awake. She is trying to gently coax it awake to understand where it is And what is happening? The divine feminine is saying, whispering gently to the divine masculine, wake up now and know my vision for peace and beauty and joy and prosperity. Wake up and build out for us the masculine, feminine, I am present. Build out for us the structures of justice and truth and reconciliation. That's what the divine masculine is supposed to do. Wake up and protect the earth and all of its systems and all of the creatures that dwell in it. Protect it from harm, protect it from neglect, protect it from hunger. The divine feminine is gently urging the divine masculine to wake up and take your place beside me. Take your place beside me and be safe. And do not make us unsafe in your awakening. See, that can happen too. The divine masculine, it seems to me, has a predilection for wanting to spring into action. The divine feminine is saying, don't just spring into action. Just come back to yourself. Be with me so that we can then move together, so that we can be together. And I believe that there is a glimmer of awareness that is happening in the divine masculine. I believe the divine masculine is hearing, somehow, sifting through the dream and the nightmare. The divine masculine is saying, huh? Okay. Because what I'm witnessing more and more is more and more people who may have been projecting more of that out of control divine masculine sense, and now coming to themselves going, you know what, I might have had it a little wrong. I need to take a breath. I need to maybe consider another opinion. I need to maybe step into it a little bit differently. So there is a glimmer of awareness. I want you to know that, yeah, we're all aware of the politics of our nation and of the world, but this is more than politics. This is spiritual reality. It's ancestral. It's creative, as I've said. And this call is not just a call to men. It's a call to all of us who've been content to kind of witness without stepping forward to wake up. So this time has come for us to rise, not in reaction, but in reverent responsibility. So I'm having one of those moments that I think Dr. Andriette has, where she says, I really don't want to talk about this, but there's something at the hand at the small of my back that's pushing me forward. And it I think, is reflective of how the divine masculine feminine shows up in my own household. So I am very fortunate to be married to Mrs. Allen, we've been married for just shy of 6 years. And she has helped me understand this dynamic that I never would have been aware of when she would bring to me, we'd just be sitting in our living room or whatever, and she would say, this happened to me today, or this is what occurred, or there was this way, and I was feeling this sort of way about it, and I got a phone call, and there is this urge that sometimes would exist in me where I would say, well, we really need to do something about that. Here's what you need to do. You need to do A, B, and C. We got to get a list and a plan together, first of all. And we've got to make sure that we don't go down this path ever again. And and my beautiful wife would just look at me like, bless your heart. Because what she wouldn't utter right in my face is that I didn't ask you for all that. Your job in this moment is just to listen. It's just to hear me and to be with me as I formulate the vision, the idea, the experience that may or may not lead to taking action somewhere along the way. This is the same dynamic that is playing out for us in the divine feminine and divine masculine interaction. But the real question, I think, is, so how do we reclaim the divine masculine from this torpor, this deep sleep? And I'm talking not the patriarchal version that we've come to distrust, but the one who shows up as direction, love, presence. In the science of mind, it teaches us that spirit moves through both receptivity, the divine feminine, and through action. What the divine masculine brings, it directs spiritual law into physical form, so we know it can be done. The divine masculine can fully awaken. And we have seen this in the past. We have seen it in the life of Yeshua, the master teacher. Yeshua operated very much in balance with the divine masculine and feminine. When you take a look at his very short ministry, what you see is that Yeshua had no problem listening to the women who were exceedingly the power behind his ministry. They provided the money, they provided the resources, they kept his name circulating in the proper circles. They helped keep him safe also when it wasn't so safe for him to speak the truth. His mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Martha, the woman at the well, all of these were aspects, evidence of a divine feminine principle that supports and guides. Paul, who wrote in the Galatians, there is no longer male and female, for all of you are one in Christ Yeshua. This is what this means. The divine masculine is not a role, it is a way of being. And so here's the truth that we know, and I'm not going to have much more to say about this. There's no hierarchy in spirit. The feminine can't dominate the masculine cannot dominate the feminine. However, things can be wildly unbalanced in a way that spins our trajectory in directions that we do not want. The divine masculine and feminine are not opposites, they are complements. Breath and body, seed and soil, idea and execution. Not either or, but both and. And we're here to embody them both, no matter what gender. This is really going out on a limb because I wasn't sure whether I was going to trot it out or not. In the midst of this process of coming up with a talk, and I'm struggling a little bit because it feels like a revelation to me. All of this came through with such passion and such fire that I did something I have never done before. Certainly not in my adult life. I don't even think I did it as a child. I wrote a poem. And with your permission, I'd like to share it with you. Okay. So, the name of this poem is We Rise Together. The divine feminine moves with creative fire. The divine masculine answers with sacred action. She dreams. She heals. She imagines. He builds. He protects. He delivers. Spirit does not divide. Spirit dances. Spirit does not compete. Spirit cooperates. We are not either or. We are both and. We rise not in dominance, but in divine partnership. We rise together in balance, in courage, in love. Thank you. Thank you. You are very kind. And so, in balance, in courage, and love, we begin to recognize the beauty that's all around us. We begin to see that it really is a beautiful world with all of the gifts that we would seek to somehow create through laws and social posturing. It's already here. And as the saying goes, I think to myself, it's a wonderful world.
Wonderful words. Thank you, Revelo. Here's one from the great Louis Armstrong catalog. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The color of the angels so pretty in the sky, they're also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? What they're really saying is, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, it's a wonderful world. Miss Tammy Hall. Ah, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. They're also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking their hands, saying, how do you do? And what they're really saying is, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Hey, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. Thank you so much. Thank you.